Howdy y'all, you got the Bulldog on the channel. What we're working on today is a Ford 500. I don't know what year it is, 2005. Got the Duratec V6 in it. Came in, they said it wouldn't go over 35 mile an hour. They were thinking computer problem because they've had an issue like this before. This was the one I did a video about where they put a battery in it and put an alternator in it, and then it had a bunch of problems and it wouldn't go into high gear. And what I found was that their brand new alternator was bad. They gave me another one. I put it on there and it was bad. And then we got our own alternator and put it on there and fixed it, because all of the new alternators were junk that they were getting. But anyway, this is a different problem. It sounded funny. So we ran the codes on it. Didn't have any codes, honestly. Nothing engine related, just emission stuff. But sitting there idling, there was no air coming out the exhaust. Like just a little bit of warmth, that's it. And that led us to checking for back pressure. And this is what we're here for. This is how you check for back pressure on one of these modern engines. Find an accessible O2 sensor upstream, something above the converter. And this one is pretty easy to get to. It's the first one we checked. And we've got a little apparatus here made out of an old O2 sensor, and got a hose hooked to it. And just a run-of-the-mill pressure sensor. Start that engine up, and preferably the needle will just wiggle. It'll have less than a pound of pressure in the system. You snap that throttle, it might jump up to 1 or 2, but that's about max. You don't want hardly any back pressure. When we put this together, fired it up, that needle pegged out clear down here. And then it come up there and idled right about here. Snap the throttle, and it would go up, and the engine wouldn't even rev. It just bogged down. That's a plugged up exhaust. Well, now it's not plugged up. I went down below. This engine has 3 different converters. It's got one right here. It's got one on this bank right after the manifold. They come Y together, and then they have another converter back there behind where it Y's together. Now what we did was, this front converter has an upstream sensor and a downstream sensor. The computer sensor that tells the computer what to do, and then the monitoring sensor that tells the computer what the catalytic converter is doing. I took out the lower sensor, checked the back pressure on it. It was pegged also. Okay, I went back there behind the Y pipe before it goes into the rear converter, took it apart, fired the car up, ran fine, no problem. Now here's where you want to do your due diligence. I really didn't feel like doing it, but yeah, we needed to do it anyway. The upper O2 sensor in the back, it's accessible on this car. It's not hard, but it's not easy either. I popped it out. All these came loose really good. If you're doing it in your driveway, a lot of times these sensors like to seize in the hole. You're gonna have a bad day just to check everything. We were lucky on this car. Everything came apart really well-ish, but it came apart and I was able to check everything. I took that rear upper sensor out, the forward sensor, number 1 sensor, put this gauge on it, we started it up, 0 back pressure. Okay, so that narrows down our exhaust restriction to the catalytic converter or the muffler. It's probably going to be both. We're going to have it in the same pipe. It's the downstream. Technically, it needs to be there, if you know what I mean. But it's going to be just as good just to replace that Y pipe back. Because when I pulled the Y pipe off, a chunk of converter came out. And that's forward of that rear converter. So, had me worried a little bit. When I was testing down there, it would have blown anything out of the front pipe that it might have had in it. I took a borescope and I looked in there, and looks like there's been a party going on. So that rear converter is bad, that is what's causing the restriction. That is the quick and easy example of how you check for an exhaust restriction on these modern vehicles. The older ones, you pretty much have to just take pipes off wherever to find it. Maybe drill a hole and then weld it back shut later. That's a redneck way to do it, but it's a way to do it. I don't advise it. I don't like doing it, but sometimes you got to do what you got to do. I understand. But this is, like I said, we had it all set up to test, and I figured I'd come on here and tell you about it. I'm not showing anything because, you know, if you don't understand it, maybe you don't want to do that. Learn a little more first. But anyway, this is how you go about checking for an exhaust restriction. Like, comment, subscribe, hit your little bell notification, share it all around. We'll talk to you later.